I have a question for all of you. Whenever you go outside, what are the things which come to your mind when you look at a crowd, when you look at any untidy area or anything? How do you feel? Anyone can share your feeling. Anyone?
Can you please repeat what you just said?
Okay. So whenever you go outside or whenever you step outside of your home, your office, or anywhere, so what do you think or what comes to your mind when you look at a crowd, when you look at any untidy place, when you look at any railway station, when you look at anything? How do you think and how do you respond to anything like in your mind, right? Because we are just going from somewhere to somewhere else, and then we just keep thinking whatever we observe. So what are the things which you think? I just want to have a glimpse of those scene, if anyone.
May I?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah. So the very first thing that uh, comes to my mind after seeing any unorganized thing, that I feel bad. But from the way first thought that start running inside my mind, that what can I do to improve all these unorganized system?
Right.
Uh, yeah. First, I feel that is government responsible for all these things, or people are responsible for all untidy things? And
Right.
because I'm a solution oriented person, so rather than blaming people or organization or anything, I feel that how can we develop a system to improve all those things, to get rid of all those untidy or unorganized things. So these are the thoughts that very first come to my mind. Yeah.
So well, I can say that somewhere we think about or we just evaluate that particular scene, or we just have a kind of feedback in our mind, right? Something like that. So a very scintillating evening to all Toastmasters and dear guests. I welcome all of you in Toastmaster Club Lucknow's 167th meet. Today, I will start with a quote. Evaluation is not an afterthought to training. Again, evaluation is not an afterthought to training, but rather is meant to be integrated into the entire learning and development process. With this, I would read to provide conducive support, positive learning in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater confidence and personal growth. Our general directions for online sessions. Ensure that you are logged in with your correct name. It will help us to identify you easily. All speakers, role takers are requested to add the name of their role next to their name. All the guests are requested to prefix guest before their name. It can be done by clicking the participants tab to rename yourself. Know when your camera is on and avoid doing any activity that may distract the speaker. Guidelines for online sessions. Please mute your microphone except when it's your turn to speak to avoid background noises from interrupting the meeting. Please unmute your microphone and start your video when the Toastmaster of the day or table topics master asks you to do so. Today we have a session moderator, so we can have that directions from him as well. Let the host and co-host handle all the controls. Sorry. Sergeant at Arms guidelines. Refrain from speaking about religion, sex, and politics in a derogatory manner. Avoid interjecting the speaker when she is delivering a speech, evaluation, or report. Avoid conversations in chat publicly when is speaking as it may distract the speaker. Please raise your hand to volunteer during the table topics session to speak. Look out for the green, yellow, and red colored cards on the screen. They will be displayed by the timer at the appropriate times. At the end of every segment, please cast your ballot when the host displays the polls on the screen. Now, I have the honor to request someone on this stage who is one of the youngest president ever I have seen in the Toastmaster. And he is pursuing his MBA and currently serving as a president at this Toastmaster Club of Lucknow. A handsome who loves to play volleyball, a foodie person, and also explore so many new places. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Toast presiding officer, Toastmaster Shubham Sinha, with a huge thunderous round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Suraj. Thanks a lot. And I welcome you all to the 167th meet of Toastmaster Club of Lucknow. And good evening, everyone, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. I hope you all had a joyous Dashera yesterday. Yes, tomorrow was yesterday, a festival that symbolizes the victory of good over evil, light over darkness, and many more things. And guess what? Today we are here with a perfect way to end up your weekend. I hope you all enjoy you all enjoyed your weekend. Is it Toastmaster Akshat? Do you enjoyed this weekend? You had fun.
Yes, absolutely. I think
So
the Shera was a great way of celebrating, as you mentioned, good, the victory of good over evil, and it's been quite a lot of festivities in the last 8 9 days. So in my family, my parents have been dressing based on the days, the last 8 9 days, and guests have been coming to my place. So all of that has actually created a lot of good vibes, and the meeting right now is a great way to end this week.
yeah, yeah, right. This meeting is a great way to end the week, and having and learning a new skill is a more better thing to do. So learning evaluations from the best, we have got Toastmaster Jatin. Today we'll learn evaluations from him. But before that, let's have some introduction from our guest. Well, first I would love to call Toastmaster guest Archana to be Toastmaster, I can say, for a short intro. Well, you are a regular joinee, we know you well, but for others, please, a short intro.
Sure. Good evening to all. So, though many of you know me already, but again, I'm introducing myself. I'm Archana. I'm a homemaker, and since last 2 years, I have been working over my communication skill and English fluency as well. And that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you, guest. Thank you, Archana ji. We always love your presence. And with this, we have Vedant. Vedant, can you please switch on your camera and can you please unmute yourself if you are able to? Okay, I guess you're not. So, and we also have a guest from our parent club, Toastmaster Utkarsh. Please don't look down, just please unmute yourself and please give your short intro to us. Like,
Hi,
not to
yeah,
us,
hi.
to, yeah, rest.
Hi, okay, my name is Utkarsh and I was a member of the Liquid Toastmasters Club for 15 months before the April 2024 cycle, where I think I have tried on my communication and public speaking skills. And just there is a desire in my heart to become a better communicator because it solves the majority of the problems in our lives, the professional life as well as the personal life. So that's all. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Toastmaster Utkarsh. I hope you will enjoy the meet and you will learn new things today. And we have one more guest. And like, I don't know I'm pronouncing your name right, but I guess it's Craig or what? Toastmaster Jatin, if you can help.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. I'm zooming in from Europe and I've been a Toastmaster member since 2014. Thank you very much.
So, so today we have a seasoned Toastmaster. Great to have you here. And still, and Vedant, are you there? Okay, no problem. I guess he is not there. So before moving forward, I have an announcement here. I'm thrilled to announce that we have exciting contests lined up on 27th of October. It's a great opportunity for everyone to put their skill set to the right place to showcase your talent. So I request you all to please be there on 27th. And with this, yeah, we Toastmaster Nikhil is also there. You are on time, Toastmaster Nikhil. With this, let me call uh, today's man of the day. Yeah, I can say man of the day. The man who has a lot of experience in Toastmaster, a seasoned Toastmaster, and he is present AD of Division F. He went to the humorous speech contest at district level last year. This time, he will not be participating in all these, but he is here to guide us. And you know what? I'm just connecting the dots. Just as Ram had guidance and wisdom of Hanuman, today we'll get a guidance and wisdom of Toastmaster Jatin. So with this, Toastmaster Jatin, the stage is all yours for showing us the path.
Thank you so much, Shubham, for not only those flattering words, but also giving such a wonderful introduction to the, or rather, initiation to the whole meeting in teamwork with Toastmaster Suraj, who's our wonderful secretary, but still continues to play the role of Sergeant at Arms to continue his legacy from the last term. But these wonderful words, now it's with the meeting being initiated so wonderfully well and the bar being set so high, it's difficult for me to build upon it, but I'll try my best because I would say I would say that there is, if you were giving an example from the Ramayana, I would have about being somebody who's wise enough to give the advice to the people who really act. So the one person whose name is not taken often is Jamwant. Jamwant, the person who really gave advice or sort of made Hanuman realize Hanuman of his own powers, Lord Hanuman of his own powers, and gave right advice at the right time, I think, in most instances when it was required, though mentioned really sparingly, but more very important. And in any sense, I'm neither Hanuman nor Jamwant. I'm just a foot soldier here who did reach out, like Shubha mentioned, did sort of participate in contests, has been a Toastmaster for some time, like has, but mostly I joined even before Craig did, but have been mostly on and off. So I wouldn't say that I have been really experienced in terms of that, but all my experience in terms of evaluation is what comes from these meetings, where I love to analyze as a data person. I love to analyze. I love to look at things from a different perspective, and somehow, at least in this club, because the vibe is such that people like that evaluation, and that's why I've been put in the spot to share share my thoughts on how do I go about doing it. But from a contest perspective, I have been a failure throughout. Somebody who's never reached beyond, I would say, area level, just once, even that too big by nomination because there was no participant at club level itself, and have never gone beyond that. So generally, there are people who are really good who have achieved something in that field, and I've been put to speak. But maybe this time we are doing something different. with somebody who's never achieved anything in evaluation and yet being put to speak, maybe to learn from my failures. So let's let's see how to go about doing it. Starting with evaluation, everybody prepares us their own points, their own presentation. I started to do that too. And let me share that right away. This is what my slide was. Everybody needs a catchy, just like your speech, just like your evaluation, where you need to have a catchy title, a catchy opening that people will really get attracted to. I was like, what should my presentation title be? I was like, evaluation. Whoa, I can't do that. Why would I? This is my first ever training. And how would I go about doing it? I'm not even prepared for it. Well, at least this is what the first thought was. And since that was the first thought, just like in table topics, they asked you to build upon your first thought. I said, why not build upon this one? And so the acronym, that is the favorite place to go for everybody who tries to build something catchy. I said, this is an acronym too. So, okay, so the acronym that it stands for is W for why. Why do we want to do evaluation? Another one for what. What are we actually evaluating? Then how? How do we actually evaluate? And just like in everything that we do, let's summarize by analyzing not only the what we have talked about, but also look at it from context perspective. So that's going to be the structure of today's session. Hopefully, we'll try to keep the first part to 10 minutes, where we will talk about why, what, and how to go about doing evaluation. And then we'll analyze in the next 5 minutes, followed by a workshop, on the spot evaluation that we would do of a speech that even I've not seen or heard of. And then we will take some evaluations from a couple of volunteers and see how could we improve on that. So I hope that all of this should not take more than half an hour and we can get done in time. But since I like I said, since I was underprepared, and I like, okay, instead of me putting down points from everybody who's given an evaluation workshop until now, why not go back to the basics and look at something that Toastmasters provides us. Toastmaster provides us a lot of resources in every aspect that it makes us hone our skills on, and evaluation being one of them. A very good example of this would be our level 1 project. So out of all, let me stop sharing and then sort of take a poll. How many people have completed the level 1 project, which is called evaluation and feedback? I think Suraj has to. So I would say Suraj 3 plus Suraj and Nikhil and Bala, of course, and obviously Greg. So there are around 6 people who have completed level 1 projects. So it would be easier to talk about this then, because a lot of things that I picked from are basically from this project. Because even though we do that, there are certain things that even I have forgotten when I revisited that project details, because many people do not read the project before they attempt it. So most of the people do not even understand what's written in the project. But even after some people, even after we do that, we tend to keep forgetting it's good. And these are the ways where we actually go back to the basics and understand the new. Obviously, we would sprinkle our own experiences, because that's one thing that we definitely have to do and are being told every time, that no matter what we do, give speech, give evaluations, connect to a personal story. And why do we do that? We'll talk about that too. But another resource, while we talk about it, is something called the Successful Club series. The Successful Club series is a set of presentations, a set of learnings that have been provided by Toastmasters itself and are supposed to be conducted during Toastmaster year, because that's one of the things that VP Education has to focus on. And that there are many different wonderful resources in that Successful Club series that help a club improve upon. But there's one that is very relevant to this section. So instead of preparing my own presentation, I would use that presentation and share my own thoughts on that. So let's begin with that. A Toastmasters logo to start with. But before I start the presentation, let me start with the why itself. So why do you think we evaluate? Anybody?
Yeah. Evaluation is a way to improve our performance.
Your what, sorry?
Evaluation is a way to improve our performance.
To improve performance. Well said. Utkarsh, thanks Utkarsh. Anybody else?
A way of learning and enhancing any particular things, skill, etc.
Of learning and enhancing skills. So is it, what perspective are you talking about?
I'm talking about if we get any evaluation, definitely we are going to incorporate it in our further performance, and then we can definitely, by doing that, enhance that particular skill.
Okay. So like it's what your point is similar to Utkarsh is once we get evaluation, we improve our performance. We learn from that evaluation and we improve it for the next time.
Yes.
We need one more feedback.
I think it's also important to know exactly where we are. So it also sets the baseline, and evaluation helps in that.
So Hani says it sets up the baseline. So all of us are looking at it from a listener, speaker's perspective is, yes, we evaluate. But once we get an evaluation, we know where we are. We get learnings, and then we improve upon it for the next time. So it seems like most of us are set up, or Honey hasn't attempted that yet, but he's set up for the first part of the evaluation and feedback project, which is how to receive feedback with the right mindset. That is, you are ready to receive receive feedback from somebody who's done that project or somebody who's listening to you and learn from that. Good point. Everybody is looking at it from this learner's perspective, and that's where, like I said, it's very good mindset for attempting your first project, the level evaluation, first levels project evaluation and feedback. But there's somebody who also needs to evaluate, and I believe that is what more we are looking for today, is how to go about doing evaluation. So what's in there for the person who's doing evaluation?
For him also, there are learnings, different learnings. Like I have done 2, 3 evaluations, and after doing that evaluation, what I have suggested to the speaker, I always, when I speak, I used to take care of those things. Okay, I am not doing those things. I am working on my tone. If I have suggested the speaker a particular thing, then while writing my next speech, I also take care of those things. I can say that that's the point.
So if I hear one phrase summary, you're saying while doing the evaluation, you're actually improving your speaking skills.
Right.
All right, Akshat.
Yeah, exactly. Just as Shubham said, like one should have a sense of critiquing. He should be able to make sense of what the speaker is saying, because at the end of the day, we are actually consuming a lot of information, and a speaker is also a storyteller who is giving us some information, some story. So to make sense out of a conversation, it's important to be able to evaluate and make sense out of it.
Cool. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, when we try to evaluate someone's speaking, so we learn one more art that is called, without hurting others, how can we give constructive feedback without hurting others' confidence level, others' emotions. So this is also an art. And really, I must say, all Toastmasters are expert in doing so, because I have got many times feedback, and every time I felt, wow, it's so nice. It's very constructive. So thank you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Archana. So at least from what I heard from the three people, Shubham, Akshat, and Arjuna, is from the evaluator's perspective, the benefit to the evaluator is improving their own speaking skills. When you give feedback, you also realize what things you can improve while for your own speeches. But you also learn how to analyze, learn the art of critiquing, and while doing so in a very constructive way, positive way. And that sort of is the crux of what Chanaji said, is of Toastmasters' way of evaluating. Because every time you might have heard this cliche a lot many times, is that you evaluate to motivate. That's what the title of this this presentation at the Successful Club series is. At Toastmasters, there are a few cliches that we talk about. So we say feedback is the breakfast of champions, right? Is because the way we learn from speaker's point of view, what we get feedback in order to improve our performance, and that sort of is really feeds. And I would just like to add on it is, as Toastmasters, we definitely feed on feedback. So the reason that we evaluate is basically to provide feedback. That is, provide benefit to the speakers. The idea should be, basic idea of providing evaluation should be providing value to the speaker. That is, providing an immediate feedback on the speech that you have heard. Again, a point to ponder is, what do we call as feedback? What exactly is feedback? Anybody else who would like to, people who have not spoken till now? Vedant, Nikhil, Bala, Archita. Anybody else then who are already spoken? Greg, would you like to weigh in?
Yeah, just I want to mention.
Sorry?
Yeah, can you hear me? Your
Yes,
feedback is a reality.
it's a reality.
Yeah.
Reality of,
Or matlab, the thing that we are evaluating.
okay, all right. You said, did you say harsh reality or just reality? I thought that was qualified or not. Just wanted to make sure. Okay, reality of what you're saying. Anybody else?
I think even it's harsh reality, Toastmaster can put it in a very, very kind words so that it may not seem harsh to the people getting evaluation or feedback.
Okay, cool. So feedback is basically a sort of iteration or reiteration of what you received as a listener, along with your combined with your opinion on how did it feel to you, what could have been done better. So in if you again let me quickly do that. So in level 1, this is why I sort of really liked, where did I, yeah, able to see. So the feedback, if you, this is again from level 1, there's nothing new that I'm coming up with. Is just information on what did you receive as a listener, and how should you portray it back to the speaker. Is whether you felt that the speech was really out of the blue, is something unique. So what did you find it unique? How did you relate to that speech? And what did you see that, okay, if there's something that you did not like just like even you had trouble hearing, instead of giving an advice, you are sharing your opinion, providing information on what exactly could have been done better in that sense. So that's what feedback is. Any thoughts on that? All right. I believe it's going a bit slow and people are like, Is that what we're here for? But let's pick it up. Okay, what exact other things that we do? So we already talked about, along with providing information on what exactly we heard it, we offer thoughts for improvement. Because feedback, just like saying, this speech didn't feel good. Well, why didn't it feel good? How can it be improved upon? So if it's like the speech that I'm giving, it's a bit slow, it's too much of basics, and we should actually look, it would have been good if I could have maybe included on how to build upon it, how do you actually do practically possible, which is what something we do with. And that's how those are the kind of suggestions that hopefully I will also get by the end of this session, and see then how can I improve on my session going forward. Next, most importantly, what Archana also already hinted at, building and maintaining self-esteem. So you need to maintain self-esteem of the speaker by critiquing in a positive way, such that they know what to improve upon, but still feel good about it, so that they can work upon those aspects and then move on to the subsequent projects, utilize those skills that they worked upon in their life in while being motivated, because that's what our title says, right? So the whole idea of why is we are providing value to the speaker by providing them immediate feedback on what we have heard, in order to motivate them to keep working on those, improving their performance. And while doing that, the benefit to the evaluator is to have improve upon their own speaking, analytical skills, and also giving feedback, the skills to give feedback. So if somebody like Sunji wanted to be or wants to be a motivational speaker, well, maybe evaluation is when something that he could focus on. So that takes care of the why part. But moving on, what are we evaluating here? Very, again, common question, very easy to go with, but any answers there? What exactly are we evaluating? Somebody put in a chat. Content, the speech.
I think all the attributes like content, body language, voice modulation, and there are different attributes in all the parts. Like in content, how he is started, how he is finishing, how he is using different, it's like a storytelling questions, whether a speaker is engaging the audiences or not. These all are things which, these are the parameters which we see in content. Same in voice modulation also, pitch, variation in the speech, rate of speech, etc. In body language, eye contact, facial expression, smile, hand gestures, use of uh, space, etc.
Suraj has sort of summarized everything that needs to be covered in the speech, which is great. So I don't have to speak much then. We can move on fast. And the conference speaker while delivering speech. True. So two things. First, let's summarize what we covered is we are actually evaluating the speech, various aspects of the speech, and how did it feel to you? And what do you say it's like? How was the speech structured? Was it delivered? What did you find? How was the behavior, body language of the speaker on stage? And did you get the message? Did you understand the purpose of the speech? That's really important. Is what was the speaker trying to convey to you? Was it really evident, or did you have to think hard about it? Was it implicit? And did he have a right way to go about it, or was it roundabout? Those are the aspects that we talk about. Content really helps build that, but it's you can so there are two ways to look at it. Yes, you are sort of evaluating whether the content really help convey the message, but whether content was what you thought it should be is not something that you are going to evaluate. So for example, if you're saying, okay, the speaker has an opinion, yep, engagement. The speaker has an opinion on how we should, as people, go upon in our living the life in order to improve or learn the purpose of our life, and in order to improve upon not only our own lifestyle but also benefiting the society in general. Well, I, as a person, may not agree to that. Is why should I worry about society? If I just can improve upon my own physical and mental well-being and do well for myself and my family, because that's what most of the people do. Well, those are conflicting opinions, but that's not we are actually here to evaluate. We are only here to say whether the opinion or the message that speaker had was to do good for themselves and for the benefit of the society. Does it go through? Does it resonate with you from how it has been delivered, and not the content itself? So that's slight difference from there, but that's basically what we evaluate. But nobody mentioned that we are evaluating the speaker, and because everybody's aware of it, right? Everybody knows that we are not here to evaluate the speaker. Well, slight catch there. You still need to be aware, not create a halo effect about if a person is too good a speaker. For example, our club mom, Smitaji, if she's speaking, yes, we all use wonderful, superfluous words. Your speech was fantastic, over the top. We don't have any areas of improvement for you. You're so wonderful a speaker. Yes, she's a wonderful speaker, and we know that, and we love her for that. But then I hope she will not mind if me taking her example. But it is also the case where if she's giving a particular speech, like the session she took on last week on table topics, if there are some things that we would have liked to get done better, we have all the right as a Toastmaster, as an evaluator, to provide that feedback, because we're evaluating the content that was delivered and that in that particular instance. Same way, for a new speaker, we are evaluating how they are delivering. But why did I say there is a slight catch? Because we still need to be mindful of speakers level into, especially in Toastmasters. We can obviously, and that will be also useful, because at the end of the day, the idea is to learn hone those skills and utilize in our personal and professional life. It's also useful to be aware of the context. And the context here is, how is the speaker? The speaker is a seasoned speaker or somebody who's new. So if somebody who's new, that person, you could sort of focus more on motivating, focus more on, yes, these are the aspects that you need to work on, but still be very mindful of that this is somebody who's new, initiating their journey in public speaking, initiating their journey in Toastmasters. So how do you want to go about doing that? Was somebody who's seasoned and is maybe heard a lot of good things about themselves. So it would be good to provide more feedback to them so that they can further improve. Because the more seasoned you are, the more you are actually need feedback in order to go beyond that level that you're already at, right? So that context is important. You're still not evaluating the speaker, you're evaluating the speech, but keeping in mind of how are you want to go about it. And again, this is not a point that I have come up with. This is something that's available in your manual, in your level 1 project of evaluation feedback. So both people can go and revisit that. That's something really useful that's mentioned there. The other thing that we said, okay, because Toastmasters is peer driven, we are all helping each other to improve our skills while benefiting our own. It is good to give back to the society, give back to the Toastmasters community using that evaluation, providing that evaluations, provide feedback, genuine feedback, honest feedback. Like this, I said, uh, doesn't have to be superfluous, doesn't have to be critiqued in a very negative way. With the right choice of words, a right way to present it, you can go about doing that. So now we come to the question is how to go about doing that. Again, let me aid, but before I move on, any questions here? No. I don't see any raised hands, so let me move forward. But actually, Bala has left the building, but we'll come back to that. So let's move on to how part and see how it goes about. All right. So evaluating by tell and sell approach. When the evaluator talks and the speaker listens. right? So you are evaluating in the generic sense. When you're evaluating, you are presenting a speech. You have heard the speaker, but now you're presenting a speech of your own, which comprises of the structure of talking about what the speaker mentioned, what did you get from it, what were the strengths, and then what were the weakness, how can you improve on it, how can this the speaker improve on those, and then summarizing that. That basically is your whole structure of evaluation speech. And you are telling and selling in the sense that you are also, your job is not this, while the speaker's job was to convey their purpose, their message to the audience, your job is to sell your opinion about how can they improve upon to the speaker, mainly to the speaker. And while you're doing that, note that this is your opinion, not the entire audience's opinion, so it has to be presented that way, right? It doesn't need to say, oh, we thought the speech was great. Well, you did not take a poll on whether what did others feel, but you could say that, okay, I believe that everyone in the audience felt that way, but mostly it's I, the evaluator, who is presenting that. Moving on further, how to make it effective. Before the speech, talk to the speaker about the objectives. Not many people do that because we are always focusing on let's role plays at the last moment. So, and often even if we have finalized an evaluator, the evaluator and speaker connect doesn't happen. But please, if you are taking an evaluation role in Toastmasters context, talk to the speaker beforehand, get the not only get the evaluation form and the project details as to what level, what project is a speaker attempting, but also what exactly is the speaker looking for. There may be certain aspects that speaker would want you to focus on for their speech. Well, if it is, let's say, um, persuading, then persuasive, if you're talking, the speech is about persuading the audience. The speaker wants to understand, okay, did you as a listener get persuaded? But also, well, because that is a objective of your objective of for that particular project itself. But if speaker is looking at a very specific aspect of it, you are trying to persuade while being humorous about it. You're trying to incorporate humor in your speech. That something that you would really want the evaluator to focus on? So then the evaluator and the speaker should connect about it. There are certain aspects that can be kept public and private in the sense that, yes, in the public evaluation, you are providing that feedback in your speech, evaluation speech that you'll give afterwards, but also certain aspects that you can only mention in the form or talk to the speaker after the project is done. Those things should be clarified beforehand, before you actually start evaluating the project, so that you, as an evaluator, you keep in mind. Well, during the speech, show that you're interested, obviously. Do not just keep taking notes. Like, okay, I am an evaluator. I am listening and noting down every single aspect, but you are listening. When you're evaluating, you're also listening. So you have to also showcase that you are involved and as any other audience member. Put yourself in the position of speaker. What would you have done? Because that would really give you ideas on what exactly should be done. Take notes, obviously, but not only take notes. Once you have done that, choose your words carefully. Already emphasize, we would not want to flog a dead horse if it's already dead. Is that choose the right words, evaluate the speech, not the person, and promote self-esteem. We will touch upon it again when we sort of talk about the structure. So avoid being disingenuous. What does that mean? Is neither be totally critical about a particular speech or just be flattering about it. You should be upbeat and encouraging while offering proper suggestions. So that was what I would say the presentation was all about. and we are already 28 minutes into the thing. So let me quickly share thoughts that I had from my end. Is a couple of things that does not mention. I hinted at it earlier. Is how would you go about evaluating? So we know why are we evaluating, what are we evaluating, and how is it to be evaluated, right? But from the summary of this, if you are supposed to give an evaluation speech on, let's say, whatever I've spoken till now for last 20 minutes, how would you structure it? How would you go about delivering it? Any thoughts on from anybody? Archita, Bala?
Sorry, Jatin, I just got disconnected. Can you repeat that question, please?
My question was, how would you go about giving an evaluation? Let's say you have just had to evaluate what we talked about for last 20 minutes, evaluating what I have been speaking as a speaker, evaluate me as my speech. So how would you go about doing it?
So firstly, like you mentioned, we will try to evaluate, if I can put it broadly, on the content as well as on the delivery. These are the two aspects we'll broadly do. And how to do it, we have different ways like CRC method or whichever way you want to follow, you can do that. But in short, it has to be like telling what is the positive you had heard about, what can be better, and finally summarizing it. That's what is the way we can do an evaluation.
Okay, thank you. Archita?
I also have the similar points. Like I'll go by giving commendations and then some few recommendations and then again commendations on how the content was, how the delivery and on the overall speech.
Okay. Anybody else?
Oh, even I have been following the CRC formula, but what happens sometimes when we have different attributes in certain area. So sometimes I feel like forgetting that particular moment when using that particular attribute, any speaker use any particular content, any example, etc. So I'm not able to put example at the same time that particular quality to the speaker, or even whether it's a commendation or recommendation. I think I'm struggling there at that point. So that is something which
That's actually a good point. Thanks, Suresh, for bringing it out. Is obviously going through the generic gyan is good, but we also need to know how to really go about doing it, and that we will come to workshop part of it. But the aspects that you, Suraj, Archita, and Bala had mentioned is a structure. Is you put together what speaker has spoken, good CRC approach, which is commendation, recommendation, commendation, and then summarize what has been told. But let's start at the very beginning. As an evaluator, you have done your part. You have talked to the speaker beforehand. You have understood what their objectives are for that particular speech, what their personal goals are. As to, okay, project objectives can be different from personal goals. Like I said, project objective is to persuade an audience. Personal goal is to maybe, because your speakers either path is engaging humor, so they are trying to make everything humorous in their whatever speech they give is try to be humorous because that's what their end of goal is, or the person wants to be a motivation speaker. So what aspect of their goal of being a motivation speaker is catered to in this particular project? That understanding that, and then understanding what are they looking for in evaluation is very important. So once you have those in mind, be prepared with the evaluation form. Also, what Suraj has mentioned, that's what I tend to do is either you sort of say just divide your sheet into the good part and the not so good part, or you tend to do it. So either you do it sort of positive, negative, pro, con, be the two sides of things. Or I tend to do, the other way I tend to do is focus on aspects as they come along chronologically. Is the opening, body, conclusion. Within that, what are the aspects that you liked? On the other side, I tend to focus on the delivery aspects. Delivery aspects on the one side, while the structure and the message and the purpose aspects on one side. So you go about writing them, whether you liked it or not liked it, and then so those are the things that you note down when you're listening to the speech. So once you're prepared, you've made up your mindset, you have already prepared your notes beforehand as to what you're looking for. Prepare your sheet also in such a way that is more convenient for you to take notes while you're also being involved. You're involved with the speech, but you're also taking notes. It's easier for you. So once you have in mind what you're trying to note down in the mode that you're trying to note down, you don't have to think on the spot of what all do I need to note. You just have a template for yourself, whatever is convenient for you. There will be different ways of doing that, but whatever is most convenient for you, either thinking of it positive or negative perspective, or thinking from the content versus delivery, either chronologically or again dividing in versus strength versus weakness, is that would help speed up the process of note taking, and also you will already be prepared for how to go about doing that. Once you've done that, make a summary, choose not many, again based on the context, you choose three main strengths with examples like Suraj mentioned, as to even if they are strengths, you need to highlight why do you consider them as strengths. If the speaker was using the stage well, you thought the stage body, the stage was used. What instance was that? Was it like, they had three parts to the story and it was very evident. The first part started at the center, then went to the side. That was one area which was geographically or chronologically good to be situated in that particular piece of area of the stage, and this is how you did well. Or the speaker use of quotations or humor was really good. Where exactly was it really ingenuous, not disingenuous, but where exactly was it ingenuous? So that you have to give example. Even for the strengths, give an example. Is why did you feel it that way, right? Then similarly for recommendations, based on the amount of feedback that you need to provide. But generally people, from contest perspective, we'll talk about it, is generally people feel that is good to do is give more feedback, give more recommendations. But recommendations need not necessarily be about areas of improvement. They can also be about strengths. But talking about areas of improvement, you focus more on that. And there you have a suggestion. You have the instance where exactly you felt that way, but you also need to add how can it be improved? What exactly needs to be done? If I have been speaking a lot, and you would have felt that I would have sort of stopped, interacted more, or given more examples. Jatin, while you're speaking well, your speech was great and you were doing the flow was smooth, but I felt it was a pretty bit slow. You could have picked up the pace, especially in aspects that we have already covered. For example, where we were talking about using the right words, since we had already covered it earlier, why we could skip that part and move on to the next section further. This is an example of what exactly area do you want to, and that is very important, because otherwise speaker does not understand. Okay, you felt that way, but why did you feel it that way? And what should I do? Sometimes I don't even know what to do. So third party's perspective. As an evaluator, you're providing a different perspective to the speaker. The speaker has already worked on his speech with his mentor or other people whom they have practiced with. So then as an evaluator, as a neutral third party, you are giving a different perspective, and that perspective is what is important. And that perspective has to be whole, has to be provided with credibility, and that credibility comes with examples. So that's pretty much it, but that's the part of it. But the two things that we missed about is we start at the beginning. So just like a speech, just like any speech, a table topic speech, a regular speech, a session speech, you are trying to make it catchy. You're trying to make it engaging for the audience. And that's how the evaluation speech opening should be. It should relate to the speaker, mostly to the speaker, but from contest perspective also to the audience and judges, but to speaker as to what did you relate to from the speech? What did you find insightful? What did you find exciting? So how does the opening generally that works? Either you come up with a quote that sort of summarizes what those are things that I use. A quote that summarizes what the speech was all about, the message of the speech, something that you could personally connect and make it funny that way, or rather sort of humorous that way. That way you sort of say, okay, if the speech was about, let's say it was a humor speech. Well, this was the time, and so if speech was humorous, and you're saying that you really found the speech humorous while the message was conveyed properly, your opening statement has to be is while I was something like while I was rolling on the floor laughing, it really hit me hard on the head that you were conveying a point of utmost importance in such a simple and magnificent way that I could imbibe it so equally and equivocally. And well, obviously I missed out the message part and what exactly was the message, but that's something that you could relate to. Is you have to really convey the opening. It would be good if you can convey what exactly did you get from that speech, whether you understood the purpose or not. Well, your purpose was to inform, and I think I now have all the information how to go about living my own life such that it is good for me as well as for society. Well, if you summarize it, if you make it humorous, if you use a quotation, that your opening of evaluation itself is as good as that itself, and that sort of sums it up. Then you move on. So do this for 30 seconds, then move on to your strengths with examples for around a minute or so that by the time I think by around 1:30, you should be done with your strengths. And then around that time, you start building on the areas of improvement. It will take more time because you're also giving suggestions on how to improve. So that should be done by 2:30. So it should take a little more over a minute. And then the last 30 seconds, like Mala already hinted, Usmasa Bola already hinted, is using summarization. Summarize, nothing new should come out. It has been mentioned a lot many times, but I am again sort of reiterating that because it's very important. Is you tell the audience, just like a speech, even evaluation speech, you told the audience what are you going to say. You have to tell them what you want to say, but you also then tell them what you have told until now, and that comes in the summary. Is what are the strengths and weakness? No examples this time. Just okay. This were the strengths. If I find that you had a clear purpose, which was to inform us, and you gave us you had good examples, support on how do we can go about doing it. And while you did that, giving us you told us a story while using the stage well. But if you could have improved upon, if you could also incorporate more humor into that, or you could sort of be more enthusiastic in your body language, and that would really help us. And that's and along with an encouraging note, and that's how you summarize your evaluation. Now, note that I mentioned strengths, weakness. I didn't go with CRC approach because that's sometimes I do that, sometimes I not. It's not a mandatory thing to do that you actually use the CRC approach where you comment, recommend, comment. But I just focus on 1 minute of the opening, the strengths, then the things that you can improve, and then I directly went on the summary. But yes, people say because you end on a good note, that good note for me can come in a summary as well. In summary, if you have an engaging or rather a motivational part of it, these are your strengths, these are your improvement. But we got everything that you got from your speech and really liked it. And that's what you go about doing an evaluation in Toastmasters context. Obviously, you tailor your speech how you want to convey to audience depending on outside Toastmasters, is whether you are giving a one-to-one feedback or you're giving a feedback in a meeting setting. You can utilize the same thing. You can obviously cut on the structure or using the Toastmasters slang in that perspective, and then continue with the same template. Anything that you would like to touch upon or questions that we may have or thoughts? If not, we will quickly jump to the contest side of things and then have an actual thing. All right. So from contest perspective, which is what coming up, this is an evaluation contest ballot. Is there are 40 points or for analytical quality. What do you think analytical quality means? Obviously, it's on the second page, given on the second page of uh, the ballot, but let's hear it out from people. What do you think the analytical quality is? Anybody? Archita is thinking whether to say or not. You can unmute and say.
I think clarity of the speech.
Okay.
If they are focused on the main, like every speech has a purpose. So if the whole speech is about that, it is clear that what is the purpose of the speech is or not. I
Well,
think that
so
is, you know,
just to clarify that the judge's ballot is evaluating the evaluation speech. This is the ballot for the evaluator, right?
okay, then it must be if the evaluator is clear in giving their evaluation to the speaker or not.
Yes.
They
So
have
whether,
given, yeah.
yeah. So whether the evaluator has, how effective has the evaluator been? Whether they have really analyzed the strengths and weaknesses. Again, from judges' perspective, they would have their own understanding of what the strengths and weaknesses that they think that should have been highlighted. So they are, as a judge, they are evaluating their understanding of those strengths and weaknesses against what you have mentioned. So if they match, or if that's something that they've as an evaluator you have come up with that judge could not think of, that would be that's even gets you more weightage or more points from that their perspective. That's what I feel I would have been doing as a judge. But while identifying those strengths and weaknesses, again, they are looking for whether you are clear, whether that really made sense to them, right? So it's again from judge's perspective, whether you really made sense to them. Not if you, even if you made sense to speaker, doesn't matter whether you made sense to a judge or not. So you have to, in a contest, you have to be very clear on what you're trying to convey, right? Not only to the speaker, but also to the audience itself. So you have to, one technique that people use when, or they say there are different ways, is when you are giving a strength or talking about speaker's strengths, you talk to the audience. You say, speaker was really good in this aspect. Why? Because he did that thing. And when you are talking about, okay, areas of improvement, you directly address the speaker. So, Shubham, I feel that if while listening, you could all, you obviously are listening, you're nodding your head, and I can feel that. But if you'd also convey your thoughts in between, that would be very helpful. So you address the speaker for while talking about areas of improvement. That's some sort of gives people talking about motivating, and so that sort of is, you're not telling, it's not like you're telling the audience that this person did this thing wrong. You're telling the speaker this is how you could improve, while you're also appreciating them for their good things, strengths, while talking to the audience. And while doing that, present your thoughts, opinion in minimal amount of words possible, because we learn to express with limited, in the limited time available. Next section is recommendations. Any thoughts on what recommendations are? Anybody else?
The suggestions which we give to the speaker for the improvement.
Yes. So the analytical criteria says you identify the strength and weakness. The recommendations are what actually help them, like either in case of strengths, it could be examples. Yes, these are the things that you're really good well, so you could work up or continue doing that. Or for weakness of areas of movement, how do you go about doing it? Now, is that now you are being evaluated as a, or rather judge, you are being judged on whether those particular aspects of suggestions are implementable, are really make sense in sense that they're practical, they're helpful for the thing. So like we talked about stage movement, if somebody is not using the stage, just saying, oh, you could have used stage well, doesn't make sense. How could have they made stage well? Was there a point in speech that really justified utilizing the speech, moving from one side to other, or saying, okay, I will go and stand and deliver speech in one corner versus the other corner? Does it make sense? Yes, that's what you have to provide. Or you say, okay, you utilizing a personal story. Well, if the speech is about, if informative speech about, let's say, researching and presenting is a project, you're researching a particular aspect that you don't know about. Let's say AI is a thing that you have not known. So researching AI and you're presenting what AI is, what are the technologies that are prevalent today, what is ChatGPT, how do you utilize ChatGPT, etc., etc. Does it make sense to have a personal story? Well, it does, because that really gives a personal touch to it. So you could say, yes, this was a project about researching and presenting, but mentioning about how do you utilize these AI technologies, what role do they have played in your life, that would give a personal connect, and that I would be able to more relate it. So is that implementable? Yes, putting in a personal story is implementable, and it's practical as well. So that's how the recommendation should be. And these two form the meat of your judge's ballot. The next one is technique, which we have talked about, is positive, sensitive. Uh, Again, in a contest, you don't have to worry about what level the speaker is, and you don't even know what objective or project they're evaluating. So evaluate it from a general perspective as to whether you got the purpose. So what is the possible purpose that you have? They were trying to, there was something in the past, old evaluation scheme is, or rather old education program is, they were four general purposes of a particular speech. They could be to persuade, or rather, let's have it, to inform you of something, to entertain, to persuade, or to inspire. These were the four general purposes that they used to say a speech should have. That was the second project of an old Toastmasters education program. And then they would say, what is the specific purpose? So if they want to persuade you, what do they want you to persuade about? Persuade about giving up smoking, persuade about improving your lifestyle, whatever that, or inspire you to take up a new role, a new challenge in your life. Those are the things. So if you understand that, if you highlight that in your opening itself, that yes, this was the purpose that I understood, that you wanted to persuade me to do this, and I think I have got all the gist of it, that really clarifies to the judge that you have got, or to your evaluator, that you have understood what the speaker was talking about. Obviously, be very sure about it, because if you mention something and it sort of conflicts with what the speaker is trying to say or what judge's understanding is, you would get marked negative. So if you're not very sure, be diplomatic about it in your opening statement. And lastly, summation. Summation is, like I said, it concludes. So that's 15 points. Do not forget to summarize, because that sort of is make or break. A couple of other suggestions that are from my experience of other speakers, who they say that they focus more on content, more on the body of it, what the purpose of the speech was, what they have improved upon in that perspective, than on delivery, because that's more, that showcases a higher level of analytical quality than just saying, oh, you didn't use a stage, or you didn't use body language, because those are more evident things. But if you really think about the message and the content part of it, that gives, some people give it more weightage. So look at it from that perspective, that yes, the content has to be evaluated well. Just do not focus on things that are very explicit, which is the delivery, because those are easy to get, but yet those are important. You could mention 1 or 2 points about it, but yet do not just focus on the delivery aspect of speech. That basically is what I all had to say. In conclusion, going back, because like everything, this should have a summary too. So just like your evaluation has to have a closing, connect with your opening statement, summarizing your key points, and give a personal story. The summary of this session is the evaluation for me is still a war. I still every time have to do an evaluation, like especially in a contest setting. What would I do? How would I go about really learning or really improving upon what I did not do last time while benefiting the audience? Because I need to understand the whole idea of giving evaluation, even in a contest, is to benefit the speaker. The idea in a contest is to win, but if you will win only if you provide the maximum benefit to the speaker. And the maximum benefit to the speaker can be provided only if you focus on what is being conveyed, whether you got it or not, and try to help them improve upon that. With that, I think we'll now get to the workshop part of it. If we have time, do we have time? Akshat has a question.
Yes, with respect to analyzing the content. So many of the speeches are about fictional topics, and many of the speeches are about non-fiction. So typically when non-fictional topics are being presented, let's say if someone has a take on social media, or if someone has a take on politics or administration. So in that sense, when you're analyzing a non-fictional topic, how much of your own knowledge you should be using to evaluate that content, or should you be completely, be neutral and then look at evaluation?
It would be good to have an example. So you said most of the speeches are about fictional topics, right? Akshat?
One is, let's say, building a story, right? And it's a fictional topic wherein let's say it's an abstract topic. So all of that is fine, because you give that liberty to the speaker to be creative and talk about it. But some of the topics that are very contemporary, or topics that involves taking a side of, or looking at, let's say, if social media is killing us, or if social media is distracting us, right? So a lot of people would quote a lot of examples, data. So how do you as an evaluator make sense of that? I mean, obviously you would have some knowledge about the topic, but sometimes you may not have that knowledge, or sometimes you may be having a very strong point of view about a topic, and in that sense you may tend to be a little biased evaluating that person. If I hope that clarifies what I'm trying to say.
So I think it hints upon, it's a very valid question, but it hints upon what I was trying to say earlier is, and you've answered it as well, is you are evaluating the content or content based on what speaker's motive convey that is, right? So speaker's motive is, let's say in this example, if whether this social media is really useful or not, if the speaker is trying to provide a message saying that, okay, or persuading us to utilize social media effectively rather than just blindly, and they are saying they are highlighting aspects of social media that are really cons according to their opinion. In their opinion, you have to evaluate from that perspective, not how what your personal opinion of that subject matter is. It's just, yes, that Archita, I think she gave a speech on social media earlier, is saying it was a table topic, wherein she said, okay, she talked about the speed of communication, if I remember, how quickly social media enables messages reach you. Well, I was the table topics evaluator that day, and even though I may have a different idea about what, yes, it's kind of, it helps you helps reach this not only the volume but also how fast it reaches. That's something different to talk about versus, oh, social media still giving you bad information, it's still giving you a lot of negative information. But the aspect of what she talked about talking about the speed, is what he really hit me, and that's why I remember it. That's why I remember that is a unique aspect that she talked about, and her message was clear to me that she's talking about the speed and not about the positive or negative aspects, because the speed is irrespective. So let's focus on that. Let's focus on evaluating that part of the speech, or what the message she conveyed to me versus, I think social media is bad. I don't have an Instagram account. I was the last one to create a I did not create my Facebook account. My friend created me years after Facebook came into picture. So I have a different opinion of social media or different way to utilize it versus what Archita does and what she thinks of it. But as long as I get her message and evaluate that, that should be good enough. I think Archana ji was trying to say something.
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, thoughts, comments before we actually, Archita, do we have a speech and do we have time to do that?
Still we have 30 minutes left. We can do that in 30 minutes,
Okay.
possible.
All right. Okay. So the idea is whatever we have learned, hopefully we can implement it and we could take a feed. Not only we do evaluation, but we also do a feedback on evaluation, right? So let's quickly do a speech, hear a speech with obviously 7 minutes. So 7 minutes of speech, and then we will take 5 minutes for evaluating, which is what the time is given in contest. So let's do in a proper contest manner. 7 minutes of speech, so you can have your notes and all that. Here's speech. Take 5 minutes to then arrange your thoughts, arrange your notes in a proper speech manner. Then we will hopefully have one evaluation, and then we can talk about how to improve upon that. All right. So 7, 5, 12, and 3, 15, and then we'll have still have 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes to talk about it, and then we'll close it. Utkarsh is leading in, then saying, then going back, and then leading in. It's like he's dwindling with, or rather thinking whether to get engaged or not to get engaged.
Toastmaster Jatin, you are sharing your screen for the speech, or should I?
Oh, I think it would be good if you do.
Okay. Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, I'm playing the video, and again, just for 2 seconds, just check the audio is clear or not.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. I am Isha standing.
It was clear to
Okay.
me. How about others?
Rest of them, Toastmaster
Yes,
Express, Suraj,
it
Archana.
is clear. It's clear.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. I am Isha standing before you to share a fast-forwarded journey of my life. A very great Greek philosopher said, the only thing that's constant in life is change. And I am the epitome of this quote. My life is in a series of 4 episodes. The first one being the ironic innocence. Long ago, not very long ago, like 23 years back, 16 November, in a place called Coorg, I was born. Anybody who doesn't know what a place called Coorg, or who hasn't visited, okay, anybody who hasn't, it's high time you plan your trips. I stayed there for around 3-4 years, and hence it became the battleground for my notoriousness. As a kid, I used to sleep during the day, and the moment my parents used to go to sleep, I used to start crying. And I used to cry so loud that the entire colony couldn't sleep, and I used to go on until my parents made me sleep with a maid, and only she could put me off to sleep. After 3 years, there was another phase that came up where I had to face this new creature. All of a sudden, he pops out from nowhere, who happens to be my 3 years younger brother. And while I was sent to kindergarten, he used to stay at home, and he used to grab all the attention at home, be it relatives or parents, they loved him the most. And I was very angry with this. One day, on the day of my exam, I fought with my mom and told her I'm not writing my exam. She very coolly said, don't write. I actually didn't write. And my teacher saw my paper and it was blank. And she got shocked. And then my parents were called. My mom saw the paper, even she was shocked. And now when I look back at my own childhood stories, I get so scared and I hope history doesn't repeat itself, at least here. And I don't have to go through all those sleepless nights like my parents did. Then comes episode 2. I would call it the making of Isha. I did my schooling in Mysore, and from my first standard to fifth standard, I was very silent, less talkative, minimal friends. And people used to look at me and they used to tell me, she's so much like a father, who happens to be very silent again. After sixth standard, I have no idea what got into me. Probably all the traits of my mom started showing up. I started talking so much, I used to have so many friends that when I was in 11th and 12th, my mom was really worried. She thought I wouldn't do my board papers well. You know, I was never a person who used to sit day and night and study. I was very playful, but somehow I managed to top my class. I don't know whether I was actually good at academics or that I was in a dumb class. So either way, something was working out for me. But whatever I am today is because of my schooling. And that is why I would call this episode as the making of Isha. And the third episode is enlightenment. When I was in 11th standard, during the holidays, my principal asked me if I wanted to write a board papers for a blind guy. So I agreed, but I didn't know the seriousness of this entire process. But then this person was so good at a subject, he used to make me write 40-50 pages every day, and I don't remember writing 40-50 pages for my own exams. And for that year, he topped Karnataka. He was above all the thousands of non-blind students. And for the first time, I felt so good about myself. Then I realized there was so much happiness and satisfaction in actually helping the helpless. Then came episode number 4, which was a roller coaster ride. I joined National Institute of Engineering, where Santosh also studied. Just that I passed out years after he passed out. and then time flew so fast, and I was in third year. And there was this day, 16 November again. 16 November, my birthday. So on this day, Motorola came to our campus. And I had this ambivalent feeling. I actually wanted to use mixed feeling, but he said it was ambivalent, so I stick to ambivalent feeling. And I thought, if I attempt to write, and if I don't clear the paper, my time is wasted, I'm going to be disappointed, and my worst birthday ever. But I had to take risk. I went and took the paper. And fortunately, fairy tales do come true sometimes, and I cleared the paper. 2008 August, I joined Motorola, and again I was in his team. I did first, and then I was moved to Sunil's team, Windows Mobile. Then with all the recession and layoff happening, I was again moved to Abhishek's team. So today, in 1.5 years' time, I was moved to 3 different teams, and today I work with Abhishek in POC. Now when I look back at my past, I get amazed as to how I changed from a notorious kid to a more friendly and a peaceful person. But it is a perfect story to witness that the only thing that's constant in life is change. And this change today has made me break the ice too. Over to you, Toastmaster.
All right. I think we will time ourselves for 5 minutes to structure our thoughts and notes, and we will need a volunteer, at least one person who would want to evaluate the speech. All right, Bala is one. Do we have one more?
Yeah.
Suraj. Okay, let's do 2. I think we'll have for 2, and then we can discuss that, and then. All right, so let's time ourselves for 5 minutes. It's 8:07, 8:12. We can start the evaluations. Archita, you're saying something?
Yeah, I will show the red card after 5 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Archita. Suraj got dropped off, which is good because anyways, I was planning to ask him to go to a breakout room because if you want to do it in proper contest style, let's not influence one speaker's evaluation with other. So even if he could, he's back? No. So if you could, Archita, we could put him in waiting room, or I will enable the waiting room. Let's just make him wait or put him breakout room if he joins in until Toastmaster Bala's evaluation is done. Okay. So, evaluator number 1, Bala. Sorry, Archita, your timing, right? You would be showing the cards? Yeah, okay. All right. Evaluator 1, Bala. Bala, evaluator 1.
Isha is made, and I would say Isha has become really good. The making has made her really good. Thank you, Toastmaster Isha, for giving us such a wonderful speech where you shared a personal story right from your childhood to the way you got into Motorola. The sequencing is what I really loved about the speech. It started from where you were as a child to your school days to that exam days and finally the way you reached into your job. I really loved your voice clarity. That open hand gestures that you had were actually enticing. You had a good eye connect throughout your speech. Now, let's look how to make the good Isha the best Isha. Firstly, let's start with your introduction. Your introduction was to change or not change, and you just directly jumped into the story. I'd request you to take few seconds more for introduction and give your opinion why change is really important. Same with the conclusion. It was a hurried conclusion, whereas you took 5 minutes 17 seconds. And I feel that you could have taken some more time to conclude and join it back with that initial part of why change is required. That would have made your conclusion more effective. And you could also have given what was the exact message to the audience. From delivery perspective, I request you to ponder on few things. One is you have a kind of pendulum moment when you speak. You just speak like this and moving sideways. Instead of that, be positioned in one place, and I mean in one position, and you can use the stage in different ways. Like, for example, you can talk about your childhood from this side of the stage. You can talk about that schooling from this side of the stage. You can talk about the final exam thing and say the job story from this side of the stage. This way, you're utilizing the entire stage. Just to summarize, wonderful storytelling capabilities you have, keep it up, come up with such great stories. In future, you have a way of giving a speech which includes great voice clarity, hand gestures, and eye contact. Just focus a bit on the introduction and conclusion as well as stage movement. With that, I feel that Isha is going to ace the speech contest in future. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bala. Okay. Seems like Suraj has really dropped off. Anybody else who would like to take Suraj's place?
Mm, I can give it a try.
Okay. All
And
right.
I didn't heard Toastmaster Bala I put on my earphone.
All
Can
right.
I take reference from my notes when
Yes.
giving the
While speaking, while giving the speech, you're okay to share or rather refer to your notes. Though in the contest, try to avoid doing that. You could in between look at it and then continue speaking because you're actually delivering a speech. You're not reading out, but you can definitely refer to it in between. I'll have a quick look at the notes and then continue giving your evaluation speech.
Okay. So,
All right.
can you start?
So evaluator 2, Shubham Sinha. Shubham Sinha, evaluator 2.
A secret of getting ahead is getting started. And the speaker started very well. What a great starting it was. Speaker started with a quote and divided her speech into four parts, which shows that the structure was very, very perfectly made. And you beautifully walked us to your different life phases. And I have few recommendation for you. The first one is the structure. You had a very good structure. You divided your speeches into four parts. It was an icebreaker speech, and you did it very well. Uh, then your hand gestures and body language. It was very well, but a small recommendation on that part, that in the starting your hand was crossed like this, which shows the nervousness while speaking. So I suggest the speaker to please don't use this gesture while giving the speech. And now let's get to the recommendation part. The first the first one I gave, that the hand crossed. The second one is uh, the tone of your you can use different tone while delivering your speech, a different tone at a different time. For example, when you you told about the when you told us about your school thing, that you left your paper blank and your teacher was shocked, then you could have used the shocked expression at that time, like, and my teacher was shocked to see this, to see that. And then uh, like the whole speech was good, the structure was good, but it would have been more better if you would have divided that your stage, and you could have used your stage fully. You divided your speech into four parts. So first you could have started from here. Then using the four part of the stage, you could have used that all the things, like the your first phase when you were a kid. You could have delivered it standing here, then moving here. The second stage, enlightenment of, and all those things. You could have utilized whole stage very perfectly. Uh, and one more recommendation for you, on the transitioning part, while transitioning from the one from one episode to second episode of your life, like after while transitioning from first episode to second episode, you directly said that uh, now let's talk about my second episode. Instead of that, you could have directly started with that, and you could have directly said that now it's the time for making of Isha, and then you could have you could have avoided that. Well, overall, it was a very well structured speech, very good speech. With this, you can work upon your a little bit of hand gestures, the writing of speech, and the transitioning part. Otherwise, it was a very well speech, and all the best for your future speeches.
All right. Suraj, seems like you had a network issue.
Not network issue, battery just got it.
Okay,
We
cool.
realize.
All right. We have for 2 hours to complete, we have 7 minutes. So Archita, how do you want to go about it? Oh, he's still again stuck. Okay. Oh, he's back. It's freezing in between. I think there's some network issue. So, Suraj, is it okay if we sort of quickly wrap up, discuss the evaluations that Bala and Shubham have given, and then we can wrap up?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay. We would. So, any thoughts that people have on evaluations that Bala and Shubham have given? Things that resonated with you, or things that you think that they missed or should have incorporated in that evaluation?
Yes, I have one question. As a public speaker, if I'm standing on the stage, so what should be my exact body language? Because both evaluator emphasized on the that hand. Initially, Isha hand was like this. So what should be the opening hand gesture or overall body language? So as a beginner, as a learner, I always feel puzzled because I also feel nervous whenever I go to deliver something on a stage. So what is the right way of deliver yourself? Yeah.
I think the right way to deliver yourself is based on what you're trying to convey, right? So if obviously when you start, okay, two things. This first, let's handle this. Why did they both mention this? Because this is something, it's not bad, but it's something that's clasping of hands is generally done when people are nervous. They're trying to control their nervousness, and then so when even if you're not nervous and you're in this mode, they people assume as an audience that you are really confused. So that's why it's asked to avoid. Shubham has something to say for sure.
Well, I mentioned it because I got this feedback from an evaluator. So
Yeah. So
What is the right? What is the right gesture? Hand
so
gesture.
what I try to do is instead of clasping, so I often start with this. So if you, I don't know, I think the same photo that has been used for this today's thing. So that's, yeah, this is what I did because I was at the contest that was a district level, and I was in a contest when I was not sure how to go about doing it because I had to start. So this is just because before I was starting, even before I was starting in front of the audience, I was preparing of how to calm myself down while contest chair would sort of announce my speech title and say. So I was not sure how to start. So I was like, okay, let's do this. But even that there's a story or rather incident that happened. They asked you to clarify or talk, speak out a sentence so it's clear that the audience is able to hear you. So they said what the statement that I was asked to do was hmm, it was something like when in doubt, showcase confidence or something like that. It was something like that, and I actually enacted that. So I was like, what I did right now, like when in doubt, and then I adjusted my code and like show confidence, and audience received it very well, and that gave me confidence because I literally sort of used that sentence to my benefit in front of there, and then people really applauded even before I started my speech. So always the idea is always to first showcase confidence. Don't show nervousness on stage. Be calm. If not aggressive, not assertive, but be calm. That's one thing. So that was my sort of way of calming myself, and then that did help. But then when you start your speech, the idea is your body language should synchronize with what you're saying. So if you're starting your speech in a low mode, then you have to showcase that body language that you're really low. Right? The example of that sentence, I really showed doubt and then I showcased confidence. So that was basically complementing your speech with your body language is what it should be done. So that is generally avoid that because people tend to take it negative. Sorry, anybody else has any other opinion or thoughts to share? Okay, so then let me quickly share my thoughts. Both speakers or both evaluators did try to did sort of utilize a good opening in sense that Bala mentioned how you change, or how, and things like how you more improve and all that. My only suggestion was there is sort of you faltered in between, right? At that very instance, I'm not sure if you faltered, but I felt like you faltered. You had the first part of it, and then you sort of, again, you were not sure what the end should be. In the opening, if that comes out, that really shows uneasiness, or you're not sure what you're speaking, so avoid that. For Shubham, the opening was good, that you did the starting, you related to the starting, and then you, but I think what you could have done in between, because this context is known, this is an icebreaker speech. So you had a good quote about starting. So you could say this is how you're initiating your Toastmasters journey, and then connect it to the crux, the meat of your evaluation, which is, now let's start your evaluation from the starting of the speech, which was how you started well and things like that. So that, give it 5 more seconds, connect it to the overall purpose of the speech before you jump into the conclusion, before you jump into the actual evaluation, the meat of the meeting. So that initial 30 seconds, give it a general picture, and that you had a good quote there, just connect it to the context there. I think the other thing that I had, both the evaluators did, they were like quickly, they're done with commendation part in like 30 seconds. The strengths part in 30 seconds. Yes, okay, this. Let's now jump to the conclusion, to the recommendations. While we discussed that it is good to have more recommendations, or in sense more focus more on areas of improvement, but you have to balance it out. Even if you're not following CRC, it should make it, let's say, 30-70, 40-60, not 50-50. Nobody wants you to do it 50-50, but let's not just brush off, say, especially Shubham, let's not brush off the good parts of the speech. So the good parts that I felt were, there was, I think both of you mentioned, she packed a lot of content, speaker packed a lot of content in her icebreaker speech. And it was chronological. In four episodes, which were, she highlighted, this is my third episode, next episode, which is good. And so those are the good things. She was very confident, as in she didn't show, as in the sense that she was not fumbling in her speech. Yes, there was slight anxiousness, nervousness that was evident because in her pace, she was also speaking very fast, which we'll come to later. Just like what I did here. While talking about commendations, I said, but she was doing this, which is what Shubham also did. In the commendation part, you gave all the commendation and then you said, but there's one thing that you can do. And then you said, now let's move on to the recommendation part. So what was that you were doing? Were you actually doing commendations or doing commendations? Are you confusing the speaker? As well as whether you're not sure you're really praising or appreciating, or you're saying, okay, this is good, but obviously it suggested that you should not be using but. So now let's talk about the areas of, for one thing that I should share. So I had this opening for my that I think I can share. So I said her story, what Toastmaster Bala also pointed out, was focus on this message: change is the only constant in life. I didn't know that it was some Greek philosopher say that. I have been saying that for some time. I thought I'd come up with it, but there was some Greek philosopher, I don't know who, but that's why it resonated with me. So I focus on that, where it says changes on the positive side are improvements, and how Toastmaster, whatever her name was, highlighted the enhancements in her life through this fast forward speech really showcases her positive evolution, is what my opening was, because that focused on her key message, which is change. And all the she mentioned it is fast forwarded, which is something that I also would like to talk about is in the recommendation part, which is that it is very high paced. She could have slowed down. So that's why I thought that bringing out these 2 points in the opening sort of gave a good summary, a good gist into what I'm trying to say, is what I thought. Maybe people would have other opinion. So that was the opening, and then we talked about the positive points. In terms of suggestions, both the evaluators did mention about the sage usage and did highlight on how she could have used it, which is a good thing. One suggestion, or more, I already said, too much time taken on that aspect. There's too much time taken on evaluation, because for Toastmaster Bala did a good summary, but for Shubham, as in did give enough time for the summary, but Shubham didn't even have enough time because you spent so much time on that thing that as soon as you see the yellow card, which is 2 minutes 30 seconds, you should be done. You should start within the next 5-10 minutes. You should start with the summary. So even if your summary flows into the after the red part, you have some people do it beyond that. Some people start 2:45, so that they have 45 seconds for summary. But you could. So I would say, as soon as you're done, as you see the yellow card, either you should be done or you should in the next 15 seconds you should be done, because then you will have 45 seconds remaining for summary. 45 seconds, like that's the hard deadline. So you should stop doing that. The part about transitions, which is I think Shubham highlighted it, which is what I also felt. She had transitions from one story to another, but they were not very evident. She mentioned, "Oh, this is my next episode. This is my next episode," because she was speaking so fast. Sometimes first, at least at the end of the first episode, I missed when she mentioned that this is the end of my first episode, and then she started the second one, and I paid attention to the third and fourth, but that was so fast I missed it, and the transitions were not very evident because she mentioned, okay, birth, Coorg, brother, and her maid used to make her sleep, but Prince could not, and then she said, okay, childhood stories somehow and then she these are, and then okay, and the exam story saying that she didn't write anything. So and then somehow these are my childhood stories. I also feel that, oh, what did I do? I'm surprised. I'm this thing. And then she again moved to sixth standard, which is again childhood, right? So it's not whether your first episode is nearly really not childhood, it's infancy. So you should highlight it that as infancy. And those childhood stories are not the message. There was, what did I do in my childhood with just maid and writing the exam. So fine, highlight it proper, transition it out either through body language by using the stage movement, or through clearly saying, moving on to what my school days or school days were. That she could have highlighted. The aspects of stories were not equal. They need not be equal, but at least it should not be so much that one episode is very small and one episode is very big. This is what I felt. The last episode, which was all about moving on to after college, she suddenly jumped into career, and then she sort of did a quick, okay, I moved to this team, that team, that team, that team. It was okay for her audience because that was, I think, her club, and they knew where she was working. But but it sort of felt as if it was just a summary of what project she worked on, and that pretty much it. So first episode was good, well built up, whilst last episode was like in a hurry, and then there was no conclusion. That's what I felt is the connect to the opening statement, just like in evaluation speech that needs to be done. That's what I had to do. So for that connect, coming back to the evaluators, not enough time for summary for Shubham. Toastmaster Bala had a summary, proper summary, but you brought in your voice clarity and additional aspects in the summary, which should not have been done. You sort of closed at other things, but then you mentioned voice clarity and a couple of other things in the summary, which you did not mention. I felt you didn't. I didn't hear you mention in the evaluation. Maybe I'm wrong, but that came up in your summary, and basically those are new points. You do not want to add new points in your summary. You just may need to mention what has been done. That's what I think. Anybody else has any other points to add to?
I think
Yes, she should have had a stronger
one point.
conclusion. There should have been a call to action at the end of that speech, and there was no mention about the many uses of hand gestures that she had throughout that speech that did not sync with what she was saying.
True. Thank you, Craig, for pointing that out. She has a message. Yeah, that's what the message. She started with change is the only constant. How has all these changes that she mentioned in her life really changed to what her in what way that could have been in the summary, or rather in her conclusion, is what I felt as well. Honey was saying something.
Yeah, I felt that she had small bites of humors also in her speech, and that's a great skill to have. Probably I have not heard any of the evaluators mentioning that, so I think that could have been included in the evaluation as well.
True. Like her maid story was humorous. but because it was, or even the story she did not write anything was humorous. Those two stories, if she would have given up, given proper weightage to it, that could have been really good engaging points. All right. With that, we come to our evaluation session and workshop. Hopefully that was useful. Please do give your feedback for this session itself. And hopefully that would something that our presiding officer would ask for. And I would learn to work upon things that I can improve. Over to you, Shubham. Thank you for being there.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jatin. And really, you played the role of Jambwant for us. Like for me, I really learned a lot of things. I have a lot of notes. I made a lot of notes how to do a proper evaluation. And I hope next time I will do a great evaluation. And I hope everyone learned something new today. What about let's start with guest Archana feedback for Toastmaster Jatin and for the whole meet.
It was really great. And one thing I would like to say thank you to Toastmaster Jatin. Last time when I was giving table topic presentation, so yeah, because of instant topic, I was in rush. I was speaking in very speedy way. That day in feedback, Toastmaster Jatin told me that everything was good enough, but my I was speaking in very speedy way. So now I'm very mindful, and I hope this time I'm doing better, little better. And so thank you. And I have nothing to say about your speech because it was really fabulous. I'm not trying to just flattering or exaggerating anything. It was really great. I don't have right to say even one line about your speech. Yeah, thank you.
Wow. So I hope you are happy, Toastmaster Jatin. Now let's thank you to our guest Archana. Now let's move to Craig. How was the meet and how was the session? Toastmaster Craig. Craig, if you are there, can you please unmute yourself? I guess he's not here. Will Toastmaster Utkarsh, any feedback on the meet from Toastmaster Jatin?
Yeah, I cannot evaluate Jatin. I cannot give your feedback of Team Jatin. And if I'm going to give, it is going to be a smooth feedback. Sure. So in the today's meeting, I've learned many things about the evaluation, and I can feel a difference in the way that we have to approach the speaker and the parts on which we have to break down, and we have to evaluate in the positive and the not so positive way. So yeah, that's all. Thank you.
You're on mute, Subham.
Sorry. Thank you for that. And now we have Toastmaster Bala. Toastmaster Bala, how was the meet? And any feedback for Toastmaster Jatin?
Thank you, Toastmaster Shubham. From the education section perspective, I really enjoyed it. Kudos to you, Toastmaster Jatin, for that session. I have two things. Maybe one from the session perspective. I feel that pace could have been a little more faster. I felt it was very slow. That is one. Second, on the evaluation thing, I don't know if I was not clear, but there was things that you told me I have bought in the last, like voice clarity thing and those that intro and conclusion thing. It was mentioned before as well. Probably, I don't know if my voice was not clear. I was facing some network issues, maybe because of that, if it was the issue. But that is one thing I would like, because I take your own words that when you give feedback to seasoned Toastmasters, you have to give the right feedback. And that's why I'm saying this. But from the session, overall session perspective, it was wonderful. Really enjoyed being here. And Toastmaster Jatin, as we all know, is a wonderful speaker as well as today we also got to know he's a wonderful evaluator as well. Thanks for that, and back to you, Toastmaster Shah.
I just want to highlight, thank you, Toastmaster Bala, for that feedback. Sorry, I didn't mention the intro and conclusion. I know you had intro and conclusion properly mentioned in your speech. The only thing I was not sure of the voice clarity part that you mentioned. The only suggestion that I had there, I think I mentioned that in the table. Okay, last time when I was table topics evaluator, and sort of you had dropped off, and but I gave this feedback is the way you speak now when we converse is really very good to hear. But the way you start, do you in your speeches, right? You try, because I understand in certain Toastmasters way of speaking, we try to emphasize certain points and aspects, but at times what it feels, especially today, what it felt, your words were coming out in chunks. So you had 3-4 words, then a pause, then 3-4 chunks, and pause. It was not looking very well paced. It was as if you are breaking up in between, which was, I know you not, it was not the case. The way you sort of emphasize in your table topic speeches as well, because we have seen you do that. But today it was, even the pauses were so much much longer that it was as if the speech was in bits and pieces. That's something I think if you could balance it out between how you converse and how that Toastmasters way of speaking, I think that would really, your speech style is good. It's just that the breaks could be reduced. I think that's
Point
why,
taken, Dr.
yeah,
Sure.
I think
Point
that's why I
taken.
missed the
That's
point for voice and clarity part. Yeah. You did
I
have my intro and conclusion.
take the point. The only thing is, like I said, no, I think the part that which I was trying to say is both the speakers did not convey on the intro and the linkage to conclusion. That was the part I was trying to say. Anyway, that's my thing. But yeah, point is taken, and thanks for that. And today I was definitely facing some network issues. I got dropped 2-3 times as well, probably because of that. But I'll surely work on what you say. Thank you.
We got one more feedback. Mr. Bala. And now anyone of you, like Toastmaster Akshat, Rachata, Toastmaster Honey, any feedback?
Yeah. So, first of all, thank you for this session, because also I'm new that I am learning in this journey, and whenever someone used to ask me take the role of evaluator, so I always had this question in mind: how do I evaluate? Even in today's speech, after Jatin has given his discourse, then also because it was her first, Isha's first speech, right? Ice breaking, and I felt it is perfect speech. Only when both of the evaluators have evaluated, and then Jatin has told the finer nuances in what exactly we have to look at, and so and so and so and so. Then only I came to understand. Okay, these are the things that we have to look at, and these are the that we have to evaluate.
So
So it's a
Toastmaster
learning.
Honey, now you have a lot of points from the icebreaker speech, now a lot of feedback on that, and you know how to write a perfect icebreaker. So I think it's right time to write icebreaker speech and to deliver an
Yes,
icebreaker speech.
definitely, Shubham. I take that feedback today, and I will definitely work on that. And next time I'll come up with icebreakers.
We are waiting for that. With this, Toastmaster Akshat.
Yeah, it's a great session, and in the earlier half of the presentation, it was appearing like a bit of theory, but I think with some hands-on, with two seasoned Toastmasters attempting this exercise, I think it was a lot clearer. Also, it felt like I'm watching the movie Inception, which is about dream within a dream. In the same way, you have feedback about the feedback about the feedback. So yes, being an evaluator is a big ask, and to be able to understand if the evaluation has achieved the purpose, I think we have got to see it here. So thanks to Jatin and to Bala and to Shubham for attempting the exercise, and for to all the speakers for having interjected with some very valid feedback.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akshat. Yeah, Toastmaster Bala, you say something.
Yeah, but I just want to give one small point to you, Toastmaster Shubham, because we have been knowing each other. Like
Yeah.
we talked about that closed hand gesture, that stage moment. But on the closed hand gesture, it's a good, valid point that you brought. But I'd request you, maybe you can avoid saying that it shows nervousness. We all know it shows nervousness, but you can say that you had a closed hand gesture. Probably you can open up your hand and do an open hand gesture. That's a small thing I would request you to ponder on. That is from my side.
Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster Bala. Well, now uh, the, let's go to the final thing. And the final thing is something for Toastmaster Jatin. And it's nothing a big thing, Toastmaster Jatin. Just to start wondering what is it. It's a token of thanks for you. And really, thank you so much for the insightful session. Really, we learned a lot of things today in terms of evaluating a speech. And we also have one more thing, like in a regular Toastmaster meet, at the end, we had different winners for the best line heard, best table topic, best speaker. But today, it was not a normal table topic meet, Toastmaster meet. But still, today we have winners for our club who worked very hard last month, who took many roles and made the meeting successful very nicely. And let me share my screen for that. And they are again Toastmaster Archita, Toastmaster Sunil, and Toastmaster Jatin Khilnani. So congratulations you all for getting for being the star of the month for September 2024. And with this, now let's move towards the end, and I will hand over the stage to Toastmaster Suraj, but I guess he is not here. So okay, I will do the thing, I will do the honors. So thank you all for joining the 167th meet of Toastmaster Club of Lucknow. We learned a lot today. And again, I'm reminding you all the contest on 27th of October. Please be there and please showcase your skills which we learned today. With this, I adjourn the meeting and thank you.